They are not revamping the Constitution. They are repackaging slavery.
I genuinely don't think these people have the ability to go longer than, let me see, damn, 4 seconds without going on about slavery. I don't even know what the context of this video is yet. And already we're in slavery world. My goodness.
When I recently said that I expect a debate, what I didn't expect was the arrogance. People in my comments acting like this was a reach, like we are paranoid or weak. And maybe that's because somewhere in the message, they thought we were folding. But let me be very clear. We're not folding. We've never folded. Not in 400 years. What's happening right now may be upsetting. It may even be disappointing. But it is not new. And it is not frightening in the way they think.
Let me explain something to you guys. You know, when you oftentimes tune into the world of the liberal, the modern so-called liberal, the Democrat, the progressive, whatever, you often find yourself in between misinformation and mental illness, right? It's somewhere in the midst of misinformation and mental illness. And then there's like this, this universe within a universe that exists within that space. And almost everything they claim, they state, they feel, experience does not exist. It is actually not happening. There are people right now who believe that women have lost all of their rights, whilst these very same women are going to their jobs and unaliving their babies. As they're doing it right now, they have an idea in their head that Trump becoming president took everything away from them. Somebody posted on X yesterday, actually. They said, white liberal woman, of course. They said, oh, God knows what that is. I will not be celebrating 4th of July when, everything but our independence is being given to us, or something weird like that. And all of us in the comments were just like, huh? She probably memed this thing out because it was like a little graphic thing that she posted. She probably posted this with a $17 Starbucks custom drink in hand. That is the highest likelihood. Somewhere in the middle of Manhattan is this woman claiming that her independence is no longer existent. You have the same phenomenon going to everywhere. I just had to stop here because it's the same thing with black folks. When I came out of the closet as a conservative, not fully on purpose, but I'm glad I did. It really showed me who everybody was around me. One of the main things I was told was, you stupid nignog. Now you have just basically voted for slavery. You voted for your own shackles. They didn't mean that hyperbolically. They meant that literally. They said that I was going to be sent to a plantation. Project 2025, I will be sent to a plantation. I have not seen a blade of plantation grass yet. My fingers doth not toucheth a pieceth of cotton yet. I'm lightweight disappointed at this point. I thought some type of action was going to happen, but all we get is just more winning. Lower inflation, lower gas prices, S&P 500 peaking. I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on a crash out.
Because for many of us, black people and people of color, we already know what time it is. Even if we don't say it aloud. Even if we don't gather in secret meetings. Even if we are quiet, we know what we are prepared to do. And no law, no policy, no bill passed in the dead.
They just love to be oppressed in their head. They love for there to be some sort of something happening in their noggin. Do y'all, what is she talking about? Like, we still have no idea what the hell she's going on about. I should have known this was going to be insanity just by this. She's called the socialist. Anybody who calls himself a socialist or communist in America or the genuine Western world is a liar. You are not a socialist, my friend. You are pretend in your head. You wake up every day and you go out there to engage in capitalism. Maybe not on weekends. Actually, no, you do on weekends because then you spend your whole damn check on capitalism. You are not a socialist.
Night will change that. The Constitution of the United States was not written with us in mind. It was built on the foundation of white supremacy by men who owned slaves, by men who wrote freedom into law while keeping human beings in chains. Sure, amendments came later, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th.
1.3% of the population were slaveholders. I do want to get into this a little bit. Right here, the bottom book that's holding everything else up. By the way, shout out to Wifey for, always beautifying my spaces. So Thomas Jefferson's, I guess they say this is the best biography that you're going to get on the man's life. Or autobiography, at least. Here's the thing. There were abolitionists as early as the founding of America. As a matter of fact, there was a vote that took place where because of one individual who did not show up, a representative out of New Jersey, essentially we didn't have the 13th Amendment taking place almost 100 years before it actually did. As a matter of fact, there's a reason why you had such a strong movement in the Union that allowed for slavery to be abolished. Now, again, I don't support slavery in any context. I don't believe in it in any time period. I believe it is a stain upon human history, but nevertheless, it is human history. And England and America or United States of America were the only two nations to abolish slavery within their own midst. These were white people fighting white people. Like, if you really get down to it, this is white people fighting white people about this idea of slavery. And because in America, it just so happened that you had slaves who did not look like the people necessarily, it is always viewed from this context of it was just racism. These are the facts. So again, were you written into the Constitution itself? Well, it said all men, and it had enough, or into Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal. And it was true that that wasn't fulfilled completely until 1865. And even then, when they assassinated, the president of the Republican Party, the first president of the Republican Party, newly founded, after they take him out, who do they get in there? The first Johnson on the Democratic side of things to really give it to black folks. So that man then institutes what we now know as Jim Crow laws. Keep voting blue no matter who, folks. Keep doing it. You will continue to suffer from this level of psychosis, I'm telling you.
But every one of those came with loopholes, came with conditions, came with systems in place to keep us locked out, locked up, or locked down. Even now, we see it. The 13th Amendment didn't abolish slavery. It redefined it. It gave them the right to enslave anyone as punishment for a crime. That's how we got mass incarceration.
I really want to be able to get through more than like 10 seconds at a time, but the level of ridiculousness, and if you know me, you've been around for a while, your family, you know this. I'm not going to let that foolishness just go ahead and just go and slide. So, the 13th Amendment actually did abolish slavery, And if you want to speak on systems such as prison industrial complex, or whatever else it may be, yeah, so what do you intend we do with our criminals? You know, El Salvador is going through just a revolutionary shift thanks to President Bukele, who's a sane, rational-minded president. And their crime rates have gone down more than 90 some odd percent in the last couple of years because they put 1.5% of the population in prison. The worst criminals, the most heinous of criminals, are oftentimes a small minority. But if you don't deal with them, then they will instigate or essentially incentivize other lower base criminals, I guess you could say, to also be criminals. If you are soft on crime, that's what happens. So, like, let's get real about this. The prison system is necessary. Oh, but it's disproportionate. Yes, because you have this group of people who are committing a majority of the crimes due to their culture. Same thing was going on in the South. Same thing was going on inside with white folks. The white rednecks. They were committing most of the damn crimes. They were getting their butts locked up. They were filling those prisons. Don't change your culture, continue to get the very same result. Let's see what other foolishness we have here today.
That's how we got for-profit prisons. That's how we got children in cages and entire generations of black families torn apart by policy. The same Constitution that's supposed to protect due process has never protected us. Ask the mothers whose sons were dead without a trial. Ask the black women dragged from their cars and never making it home. Due process wasn't there. The Constitution wasn't there. Freedom wasn't there. Because it was
more black men and black women have not gotten justice after having their life taken by another black man or black woman. What do we do with that? What do we do with that information there? Oh yeah, that's right. We ignore it because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the story that continues to perpetuate the same victim mentality that keeps this group of people disproportionately in all these sorts of situations that you are. That's what it does. I'm tired of it on a whole 360 level because there's a difference between acknowledging what happened, the traumas you or those before you faced, and allowing those to be the excuse you use and the weapon that you use to continue to bash people over the head to make them feel guilty to give you free shit.
Never meant for us. The police who enforce it, they didn't start as public servants. They started as slave patrols. Their mission was to track, monitor, and capture black people. And that mission hasn't changed. They just took off the hoods and put on badges. They infiltrated departments, formed unions, and protected each other with silence and power. So when I speak about the policies today, the big beautiful bill, the threats to birthright citizenship, the concentration camps, they're quietly building.
Obama had y'all sleeping on the damn floor. Your kids being stripped from you. They didn't send y'all together. They didn't give a damn. More than 2 million sent back to where they once came. Stacked up on top of each other. Sleeping in silver. Y'all seen that? They were sleeping in tinfoil, basically. Alligator Alcatraz, y'all got beds at the very least. So it's real interesting to me how all of these narratives come out now. How convenient, but I still put a lot of the onus on the highly effective propaganda machine that has been pushing this narrative to those who are susceptible, ready, and oftentimes even willing to go along with this sort of nonsense because it validates their own perpetual victimhood. They continue to push their own idea that I am a victim. Look what's happening to me. Give me some free Give it to me.
Exaggerating, I'm calling it what it is. A strategic attempt to reintroduce control over people who fought too hard, risen too far, and earned too much power. But let's be clear, it's not just about black people. Yes, we are the primary targets. But the policies that cut Medicaid, that slash public schools, that attack food access and housing, those things hurt everybody. white people included. So when far-right extremists start cheering, clapping, thinking they've won, I need them to understand something. Your children are going to be just as hungry. Your elderly are going to suffer too. And when you finally realize that white supremacy doesn't pay the bills, it'll be too late.
I'm depleted of all my mental resources at this point in time, but I'm going to use the little that I have left on this nonsense here. The big, beautiful bill. The one thing that has been highlighted by the Democratic Party is this cut, massive cut on healthcare. The only reason they're pissed off is because they will no longer be able to use the system in order to barter for future votes from a group of people that are here illegally. That's what it's really about. $150 billion worth of resources pushed towards the initiative of getting us back to a place where we are actually putting the American first in America. Now, recent stats have come out and around 800,000 jobs have been afforded to Americans, while a negative 300,000 to legal immigrants. Black and brown people living in these urban areas that are most affected by illegal immigration are now having opportunities afforded to them. The market has created 134,000 open jobs that are unoccupied. And yet you have people foolish enough to continue to espouse how black people and black jobs are still non-existent. What you do is your prerogative. It's your responsibility and frankly your fault. If there is an opportunity and you do not take it, it is on you. White supremacy is not the reason why your ass is crusty, dusty, or musty. That is a personal choice. If I am failing, I need to figure out a different formula for myself. And that's exactly what I do my best to do. And if you're able-minded, able-bodied, there are people with far less than even that who are making things happen in their lives. That is my conclusion. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.